Muted, brother.
Good afternoon, fellas. How's everybody?
I'm good. How you
Good.
doing?
Good, man. Doing well. It's cold, snow. We shoveled out. They said we might get some more. So I feel like I'm in Chicago, but I'm in Philly. This is not the weather
Mm,
we normally have. But good time. Just quick check-in. Christopher Stewart,
yes,
the
yes,
one
sir.
and only. How you doing,
Yes,
bro?
sir. I'm beige, blessed, and bougie, bro. Like, like it's all good. We're fed, we're housed, we're sheltered, we're clothed, and yeah, nothing to complain about. I have nothing but work to do that I like to do. Good work.
Well,
So
then it was-
there's no complaining. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, some people say like, "Oh, when you love what you're doing, it's not work." I'm like, I love it, and it's still work.
It's
It's,
still
it's
work, but there's
yeah.
dignity. I've always felt I wrote something tonight to myself as I was like thinking
Mm,
back over the years. I've done a lot of jobs that people don't associate with having dignity, but I
mm,
did them in ways in which I was happy to be there because I felt whatever job I had, I felt blessed. But I'm
mm.
like a million black men who were told in the 70s by their parents, if you're going to be a janitor, be the best janitor you
That's
can be.
sanity.
If you're
Yeah.
going to be a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper you could be,
Yeah,
whatever.
Booker
And
T.
I took that to
Washington
heart.
tour, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a thing about always, always make black excellent, no matter where you are, whatever
Mm,
you do, have dignity in it. And I took that to heart. So,
yeah, yeah. No, I feel you. I feel like I've never had a job that wasn't associated with the actual work that I wanted to do. So I
mm,
feel, besides my college summer jobs, I had plenty of college summer jobs that I was like, this ain't the work. This is just a job. But as far as like my professional career, it's been the work. So I really
mhm.
appreciate that. Yeah. What's up, Cole? Love
Same old man.
Languages Agency. What you
Always,
got going
bro.
on?
Always. I actually designed some different ones that's coming out soon. But I'm good, man. I'm happy to be here. Happy to see y'all, man. Hopefully our brother Ray makes it in. I know they having the blizzard right now, and most of the Eastern Seaboard is. So I hope everybody's doing good, man. I'm excited. I think I'm not even the biggest football fan. I will say this might be the best playoff football I've seen probably in my life. I mean, there was another OT game earlier today, and it's looking like this one could very well end up in OT as well. So, but I'm happy for our guests. Haven't seen and talked to this person in a while, so it should be a good one, man.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, look, I was looking forward to talking about this show. As y'all know, I'm not the biggest, you know, uh, pop culture or current culture guy. Like I learned a lot of my stuff on the show, or when I was a principal eavesdropping or talking to youth, and they were like, "Yo, you don't know about this? Let me put you down." But I did have the opportunity to check out this show Abbott Elementary, and so glad to have Mimi Wolde Johannes on with us this evening, who we've been talking back and forth at the Center for Black Educator Development about the show here and there, sharing just little tidbits, every once in a while. But just want to, bring Mimi on and a little bit about Mimi for those, who don't know her. She's super dope. We are grateful and blessed to have her at the Center for Black Educator Development as our Director of Strategic Partnerships. She's probably spoken to 400 people, by now, engaging them, sharing about our work and stuff. And before that, she was in advocacy. She worked at the 74. She was a teacher. She did a lot of the, supporting Roland as school choice to Black choice, and that campaign that was national. And so, and you can see a lot of her blogs are still up on the 74. So you can, definitely check out her writing, which has been pretty dope. And glad to kind of just jump in. We're just gonna have a conversation like we've been seeing this show. I'm gonna talk a little bit about it. Abbott Elementary, which is based in Philadelphia. So that's been kind of cool just to see a Philly-based. The producer and one of the actors who acts in it, Quinta Brunson, um, uh, Shirley Ralph, who's also Philly native, is also actress in it. And it's been interesting to have this show about a school in Philadelphia with majority Black and brown students, and telling a little bit about the story, trying to add some humor, to the show, and just want to kind of talk a little bit about it. One about the representation. How often do you see? Usually when I see teacher shows, it's the white savior who's coming into the hood and saving them, you know, Dangerous Minds and other stuff. Or it's the other side.
Bro, that's not a show, that's a movie.
Whatever. And then Lean on Me, you know what I mean, was on the other extreme. Like,
that's why people hate the East Coast. This is why people hate the East Coast.
Do not have anything to say about Lean on Me, bro. Just
let me say it.
There will be no Lean on Me slander, B.
Listen, it's not slander. I'm just saying, like, on the other side, you see a movie like Lean on Me, which is like, yo, everything's crazy. You need a bat to make it a school.
Because they used to call him Crazy Joe, and then they used to call him Batman.
I get that. It's just, but we're also talking about like just the reality, and like as educators who've been in schools, who lived in schools, who have children in schools, who attended schools, it's just interesting to see like, what's real, what's not, what's comedy, what's not, what's exaggerated, what's for the show business, all those kind of all those kind of things. So that's just what I want to talk about, and listen, Lean on Me. Let me tell you, my first principalship. Mm-hmm. When I was thinking about going to be the principal, I had been assistant principal and a teacher for the first decade. When I was, and they were trying to convince me to take this job, and I loved where I was. I was assistant principal at the school I started teaching at. So I've been there for a decade. I loved it. I loved the community. I loved being there. And they were like, "No, you need to come take this school," But when they said, "Yeah, but before you go, you need to watch Lean on Me," and I hadn't seen it at the time. I'm usually like a little bit behind with some of the TV stuff.
Okay.
And when I watched it, I was like, well, if that's what the school's like, I'm not going there. That's not. I'm not going there to be. What do you mean? Watch this. I'll call him as my man Stark. I'm like, yo, what do you mean? He's like, yo, man, it's just like that. But they need you, so you need to go. I ended up going. And thank God I did. I'm grateful for that, for that experience, and the team and the students were
so many quotables,
amazing. So, yeah. So I want to start with you, Mimi. Just say, hey, Ray, good to see you, Ray, from the Banana Republic. Sometimes it behaves that way, but it's all good. Mimi, I want to start with you. Just what was your reaction when you first saw it? I think it was 5 episodes in now. What was your reaction, and what drew you to it to even watch it?
Well, thank you so much for the warm intro. It's so great to be here. It's an honor. I started watching this show, and immediately, I'm not gonna lie, I was triggered because I feel like I experienced literally some of the same exact things the main character Janine or Miss Teague's experience, and I was like, they got to be TFA. Like, they don't say it, but I'm like, they have to be Teach for America teachers. Wow. It's just it's a funny play on reality. Like, I think a lot of teachers can definitely resonate with it, both in-service educators and folks that are no longer in the classroom. But I do think it's just a great show that is honestly highlighting some of the most significant things, issues, challenges that the education system is facing right now. And education right now is like on a platform, literally in every circle that you're in, you're most likely going to end up talking about education. And I don't think we've been in this world where it's come up so often. So it's great to see, this depiction in a way that we can kind of laugh at from time to time.
And talk about education, not just about COVID, right? Or opening schools and masks. It's it's been talked about even beyond that, particularly with the stimulus and other things that some people were still trying to figure out what have they spent the money on. But Ray, what give us your initial, like, what made you watch it, or if you watched it, or what's your just general reaction?
So I have watched it. I think my initial reaction was, it's funny because, again, if you worked in the inner city, regardless of your TFA, regardless of your traditional route, more than likely you've experienced one of these characters. And so it's funny from that aspect. But then listening to other folks think piece it and do all these other things that they do with these types of shows, I can see it unilaterally from like both perspectives in terms of some of the characters and how some of the characters come off. But for me, beyond the traditional racial tropes that show up, I think it's good. I think it's good that we're highlighting the difficulties that can exist in teaching in the inner city. I think that it's also good that we're looking at or that folks that are looking at the show can look at the finances, right? In terms of like how a district receives funds if they're in like a Lower Merion school district as compared
What you
to
know about
being
Lower
in.
Merion?
I know the people that live there got bread, and I know you and I know you adjacent to Lower Merion, so you got bread, sir.
No, I am not. But go ahead.
but no, seriously, just looking at the funding piece, I think that you can get there's a lot of takeaways in terms of like when teachers teach in our neighborhoods, how they have to be crafty and how they have to think outside of the box in terms of what they have to do in order for our babies to get what they need, as opposed to it just being there because you got bread.
Mm-hmm. Cole, Stewart,
Which one?
Anyone?
This is what happened with Sharif host. There we go. All good. There we go.
This is a dinner room table, bro. We're having a conversation as you stressed last week, so just talk.
It's
bro.
all good,
share
man.
your
It's all love, man.
We ain't in the classroom. We ain't at Abbott Elementary, so you ain't got to raise your hand, show your underarms and all that. You can just jump in.
So one, I'm happy for. I love Quinta Brunson. I think I'm saying it wrong, but I love her. I loved her since she was doing her sketches. He Got Money sketches. So I'm happy for her. I think I like that style of like The Office, Parks and Rec, Modern Family style. I think that's cool. I mean, y'all got a whole dream girl and Cheryl Lee Ralph. You know what I'm saying? As far as the show, I watched it. I had seen it before. I watched a few more episodes for the show. It's not really a show that I'm checking for like that. Just on a personal level, I think. And I felt exactly where Ray was coming from. Like when I watched it, I was like, oh, they about to have so many it's about to be so many platitudes and pieces and stuff like that. And this is the place where I do my escapism, man. I'm good. I like I think that the crew is charming. But again, it's not if you really like it, like I ain't gonna hate on it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey man, do your thing. I think people have the things that they prefer and that they want to see. You know what I mean? Like but it's so like I said, I want those people to be successful. I hope it does last. I hope it is there. I don't personally enjoy it the way I've seen a lot of other people enjoy it, but I'm happy those people do have something where they feel, represented or whatnot. And George McKenna is another one. If it was one of Denzel Washington's first movies where he was playing the principal, the famous George McKenna. I don't know if a lot of East Coast people know who George is, but yeah, it's like his third or fourth movie. So
that was the name of the movie.
It's a TV movie too, bro. You got to go see young Denzel and Lynn Whitfield in that thing. But yeah, man, it's from like 84, 85, 86, one of them years. So
I'll check it out. Yo, Stewart,
it's not that good of a movie. I mean, it's
all right,
it's a TV movie, but it's
Hey, Stewart. Well, just generally, they call this mockumentary, right? Like it's mocking some, some things, kind of like Office. What's that? Parks and Rec, some other things. They talk to the camera. Huh? What's the matter?
I said I just named all of them, but I got you. I'm with you. I got you.
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, but it's a mockumentary. I was just bringing that term in because I hadn't heard that till I read a couple of the think pieces on it. So Stuart, what do you think about this mockumentaries, using mockumentaries as a way to, kind of, share about education or schools or working in schools?
Reef, are you nervous?
No, I rarely get nervous, bro. You know me; I'm pretty even keel.
What is wrong with
you're not
y'all
showing
right now?
up tonight, bro. Like, what's happening right now?
Can you let Stuart talk? See, this is why you got the shirt is appropriate. This is the Banana Republic behavior. This is like what happens. Stuart, jump in there, bro.
Okay, first of all, he needs detention. So we're just gonna start
he
there.
He needs attention in detention, right? That's
right.
That's what it is.
That's straight up. I think this is a show that we have to protect. I think it is it's a massive achievement to make something comedic. We don't laugh enough right now. We've been kind of saddled with so much kind of the burden of pain and a tense brow in our fight for life and everything that we're doing in the world, that it would be nice to have like the same type of refuge that white folks have and others have in being able just to laugh for a half hour, for 20 minutes, for 25 minutes at something that is pretty real at the same time. It's not just funny. It actually is capturing it. Multiple people on the writing staff are actual educators. The person who conceived of it is the daughter of a long-term Philly educator. There's obviously some insight there. There's some style to the way that it is written that, we can watch shows like The Office and nobody says, well, oh my God, what does this mean about bosses or about business or whatever? It's funny. It's funny. We should be able to laugh at some things. I think its massive kind of uptick is the reason why I say we have to protect it, because it has just shattered some records, right? So Black people writing, Black people getting production deals, Black people getting production deals that make it all the way to the end, that have a representative cast of us that aren't all in stereotypical roles, but are in roles in which they have a broader set of humanity that we can recognize. Oh yeah, I can see a person like that. I know that person. I know, not just the stereotypes and stuff. All those things I just said are gates that we don't normally get through, which is why we should protect this show. And the think piecing of it is going to drive me crazy. This should be the moment in which, because I like think pieces in general, most times, but this is where we start drawing the line. This is where we start telling.
You would love all think pieces. You know what I mean? About anything, a little critique, a little,
Listen, I think this is the time that we start drawing the line on some things. Like this is a project for me that's going to make me say, we're going to have to fight on this one, right? We're going to have to fight on this one.
Maybe share that. And then also want to hear about, you mentioned trigger, and I would love to hear, like, what are some of the things that really stuck out to you as like, oh, I experienced a variance of this, even if it was told in some type of comedic fashion.
I remember, I think what sparked having me on this show was from a think piece that Sharif sent me sometime last week, I think. And I was like, why do people why can't we just have anything nice? Like, why do you have to bash it? We have to be skeptical. Like, let us just have this one thing because we need it, right?
Get a critical friend. Like, what's wrong with critical friendly think pieces? No,
you could do that with Ray.
I don't need it, but I know somebody else close to you that needs it.
Lord knows he needs it. Lord knows.
But yeah, I think like Chris said, like there are some things we have to protect, because that piece that you shared with me was talking about this might be a piece or this might be a show that is actually going to, allow more teachers to get up and quit their jobs. And I'm just like, no, it's not. I actually don't think that's the case. I think it's going to hone in on like the importance of retaining effective educators. It's honing in on the importance of culturally responsive educators. And I think to me, that was touching. Like if I was someone that was never in the education system, if I watched that show, I would probably consider a career, because the impact is so profound. You may not see it, every single day, but you'll feel it, and you will definitely see it, eventually.
If somebody quit teaching children because of a comedy show, like, I think they were just looking for well, why you quit? Why you resign? Well, I saw this comedy show last night, and so now I'm like that. To me, that's like
that was a sign.
Yeah.
It's usually the opposite. More people usually sign up. I think it was a thing like people signed up to work in Parks and Rec when Parks and Rec was out. Like it's the
right.
Yeah,
oh, really? Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, one Chicago, right? Like the Chicago PD and fire department. That's why those systems support it, because it gets you, it helps you get some more people in the door sometimes.
But then, I mean, all right, I hear that, but is there any harm that can come from shows like this?
So before we get into the harms piece, right? I'm just thinking about how we could use a show like this to attract more male teachers, right? Because you see the male teacher that's there, he's as a substitute, highly qualified, was actually supposed to be the principal of the school prior to.
I think that was part of the comedy. I don't think he was supposed to be the principal.
I think he was.
He's a little clueless. I don't know.
He's clueless in terms of some things, but in other things, he shows up the right way. But my point is that the impact that he makes, even though he doesn't even know he's making that type of impact, is the kind of impact that is the. Wow.
Go ahead, man.
Hey, I'm good. Chris, jump in here. Like, damn, yo, like, what the fuck? Can I talk?
Y'all gonna make this man.
Just the shirt, right? Sorry.
Yes, the shirt is off-putting, Ray. I mean, in every other way, you showing up as Chocolate Mountain tonight, but the shirt is a little. Shirt's a lot.
What y'all got against Banana Republic?
Well, it's the color scheme, I think, is throwing me. It's giving me epilepsy, bro. But it's okay. I mean, it's good.
So
you are
you
fashionable,
know
always, versus.
This color scheme is in support of a group of people. You do know that, right?
Oh, okay. Then I love it. Yes, then I love it.
He said, then I love it.
Then I think your shirt is
are
fabulous. Your shirt is amazing. Your shirt is amazing, and I love it.
Reef. I feel like Reef is showing out because he's got company.
Yeah. Listen, I actually want to back up to what Sharif just said, though.
Yeah.
Is it really this serious that a character would do something on a show and it would cause some sort of social reaction, like people would not want to teach anymore, or if we allow them to depict teachers this way, or blah, blah, blah. Is that really realistic? I mean, are we looking for stuff? Are we sitting around looking to shoot ourselves in the foot?
Like this, Chris. If it is realistic, then you probably don't want them there. No way, bro. If people watching Law and Order and like, I gotta leave because of this episode, then that's what you just need to do. I mean, like I said, I'm super happy. Like I love the young lady that's running it, man, and I hope that she just gets all the success. I think that she's dope. I think she hit on a really cool thing. Just because I don't love it, ain't over the moon on it, you know what I'm saying, don't mean I'm not rooting for it. You know what I mean? Like, let people have their escapism. Let people.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all things don't. It's not trying to be the most serious. It's not a documentary, man. It's a sitcom that needs to get ratings, and they're going. We need to know, will they, won't they, with the teacher and the dude from Chris. Everybody hates Chris, so like, let them do what they gotta do. Yeah, I'm saying, like, so it's stupid.
Let me make two observations. I'm going to ask our guests to tell me what you think about these two observations I'm going to make about the show. Quick. Mm-hmm. So for Mimi, the first one is the children seem to be held harmless in most of it. So you see a lot of the interaction between adults, which I think is positive. It's kind of like the teacher's lounge, back room. So the kids aren't seen as any type of deficient in the show, which to me is rare for a show like this, right? Like, oh, ain't it awful, or aren't they so tough, or aren't they, any of that type of stuff. It's the adults, and we always try to put attention on the adults in public education. So I think that's my first observation. I think is really good. The second observation is more critical and might get me in trouble. But get in trouble. Because this is what I'm going to say. This is a nuanced point I'm about to make. So y'all don't run with me. Or don't run me out with this. Because it is so teacher centric and from the teacher point of view, I think it shows a lot of insights that they want people to know about educators, but they also show, I think, some of the blind spots that educators have about everybody else outside of them, including the principal, the administration, the district. So if there is a villain in this show, it's somewhat the district or those that can't be seen, because this is a teacher perspective. It's kind of ground level. And it's also, at the expense of the principal a lot, who gets made fun of. Now, incidentally, as it turns out, here's a nuance. The principal's my favorite character. She's the funniest one on the damn show. Like, I crack up in every scene that she is in. So I know that there's been a little bit of pushback, like maybe this, isn't showing a Black woman principal in the best light or whatnot. I think it's the funniest part of the show. So anyways, those are my 2 points. The first one is, I think the kids are being held harmless, which is really good to me. I like that. This is about the adults and their backroom kind of conversations. And 2, there is an insight into teacher thinking and also insight into teacher myopia. Like it is all from the teacher's perspective. They don't have a lot of insight outside of themselves about the district, the broader things. Now, I think later in the season, they're supposed to get into some more political issues that might show them, having more of a broad kind of. So anyways, maybe what do you think about those 2 points?
Yeah, when you were talking about the children piece, I'm like, I think the most recent episode, it was talking about this child that was transferred into her class because she, according to the other white second grade teacher, Melissa, she was saying that she's like a problem child. Like, she just didn't know how to meet her where she was at. And she's like, I've done what I could do. And she essentially asked her parents to switch out of her class and go into Janine's class. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So the parent engagement piece there is funny. and necessary. I also think that once she transferred into Janine's class, she showed out. Like she was definitely doing the most. And Janine like had to do that research and figure out what was going on. And she was like, she's too smart for her own good. She does not need to be here in this grade. She's not being challenged. So I thought that was a good way of, really looking into how to support children and meet them where they're at. And that means that you can't treat them in like this one size fits all system, right? So that was one piece that I thought was interesting. I think as the show goes on, it's definitely going to get more politicized. I can only imagine what the show about unions is going to look like. I know the education world is going to be in uproar. It's just the way that they might depict unions, because they already had a conversation about I think it was like South Philly unionization in the past. So they hinted at it. I think it's definitely going to come up in one of these conversations or one of these shows.
Well, it's interesting. Go ahead, right?
Really quick. The second grade teacher had her for 2 months, but had figured her out. Melissa, she had figured out the behavior. I just watched it just now, so it's kind of fresh in my brain. So she had figured out the behavior, and so because she figured out the behavior, the little girl then went to her parents and was like, "I want a class switch." And so I guess we could stick here for a moment, because like, what third grader or second grader has that much power to where they can go to their parents and say, "Hey, I want a class switch," right?
She was also labeled most likely to lead a cult. So
yeah. Oh, so which takes me to my next point. Those 3 files, the 2 files that she found, and then the third file that was in the desk. Like, we really talk about, some folks really talk about kids that way, right? And so in terms of like looking at how we are depicting these students, and that little girl was brilliant, because like, come to find out, it's like she was doing all these things and exhibiting all these behaviors, and it was because she wasn't being challenged, right? And so it kind of made me think about my own child in terms of like, some of the word usage that she uses and how she can be, she can show up in different ways if she knows that there are no consequences for her doing that, right? And so, that was definitely a good piece. But they're gonna think pieces, so
to death.
Listen, I don't have a problem with people doing think pieces. I mean, it's like, all right, I'm doing this, I'm writing my opinion, and
but why do they do it, Sharif? Why is it like, are they sitting around like the Maytag repairman just waiting for something to be mad about? Just like sitting around.
Why?
Oh, wait a second. Let me stop.
Is that natural to not have an opinion about everything? Is that natural?
Let me talk. Let me say it.
I'm really curious about that. Like, say more.
About not having an opinion?
Yeah, like when do people not have opinions about everything? Even the people who mind their business have an opinion. They might not share it.
Right? I have to communicate it to others.
Wait, let me ask this: Are there this many think pieces about like Arrested Development or Seinfeld or old shows, new shows, the Ozarks?
There is. I mean, I haven't read them, but I would imagine
see them.
You're not looking for them though. You're not looking.
Yeah, I think that's the difference.
They're out there.
I would say
this. Their think piece in the white shows to death too.
Absolutely.
It depends. I mean,
comedies like Parks and Rec. And
comedies
I would imagine. I don't know.
Comedies a little bit.
I think a lot of. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I think the one thing I've seen, like, especially with like the nurse and doctor shows, because I'll be in that environment too. Like, there are people like Dr. Mike that'll like analyze a scene and just be like, okay, this is just not based in reality, because they don't want somebody to hurt themselves, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people show up at the hospital talking about stuff they seen on like, Chicago, hospital, right? Like, it's just that's different. Chicago Med. What I do think would be smart for somebody listening to do though is from a teacher or a school leader that has some fun with it and maybe breaks down certain scenes around what we would have done in this situation versus what we wouldn't have. Because I think the thing is that the only way to monetize things is you usually have to go negative, right? So my kind of lukewarm reception where I'm like, I love these people and I'm happy and I want to see it be successful, but it ain't really for me personally. That ain't gonna get you clicks. What's gonna get you clicks is this is the worst this is and I think that that's the part that people get annoyed at, right? It's like I think people are gonna like unfairly just target it and like just let it be a comedy, man. Like it's a 22-minute sitcom, baby, with commercials. Like, I don't know what you expecting to kind of happen, but it can be annoying. And I think for me, my escapism, I don't want to feel like I'm going back to work like at later at night. Like I want to watch some stuff where I'm escaping somewhere else.
I like look
ahead.
at this, and I look at Secure, and if we have one more black woman,
Insecure, bro.
Insecure.
yeah. So if we have one more black woman,
No. Say it.
No,
Say
wait a
it.
minute. So y'all gonna make fun of me when I do stuff, and y'all gonna let him ride with Carlos?
They're not letting me
name of it.
They're not letting me ride with it. I just don't care, bro. Like so that's the difference. That's the difference. I just don't give a damn. I mean, when you're this pretty, you don't have to worry about things. Anyways, like so like listen. Yes, bro. Yes, bro. Absolutely. Chocolate Mountain. Step back, King. So anyways, like listen. You and Chocolate Thunder over there with the doctorate, y'all need to like just chill for a second. The point that I'm trying to make right now is if we have one more black woman, write and get a production deal and get a show on TV that depicts black people in a positive light that we can all enjoy, and we allow the mob to come for them in ways that are really stupid and destructive and kind of so in support of having no more black women do that work. No more Avas like to come down the pipe or whatnot. See, we're gonna be in trouble if we keep doing this. This is a good excuse to not make shows. This is the best excuse to not make shows.
But
right?
Let me ask this though, because I don't think I hear y'all. I don't think Principal Kafela, I think I saw him earlier in the comments. I don't think he did it for clicks. I don't think he was doing it for bashing. He put out and he got some heat, some agreement, very specific feedback about and critique about how the black woman is. You're speaking about like elevating. Ray normally instead of Banana Republic, he says protect black women at all costs or something like that. And so Principal Kafele said like, hey, you know what? The principal is being it's a kind of buffoonery for her to act that way. And how that may depict black women in the role, and like, so how do people receive that? You know what I mean? Because I was reading some of the comments, and some people agreed with him and said like, yeah, and then other people like were saying like, hey, don't it's just comedy, leave it alone. The one piece I would say is that it wasn't the only. I've seen so many shows where the only black representation is that. And that's not the case in this particular show, but I'm very interested. Mimi, I want to hear from you about that initially, but Chris brought up like that's his favorite character.
Well, it's my favorite character. Let me just say this. Mm-hmm. None of the characters are a great representation of their particular type for everybody. Mm-hmm. The West Philly white teacher, female teacher, isn't somebody, or South Philly, I'm sorry. Yeah, she's not the one that everybody would want to be. The white guy teacher is not the guy that everybody would want to be. The principal who can't find himself, the principal in waiting who's a substitute teacher is not the black male that everybody would want to be. This isn't like one role fits everybody. Everybody's a broad character sketch. Like we need to have a sense of humor. Now I'm not going to discount the good principal's critique because I have lots of respect for him, and I don't want the heat. Like, I don't want the smoke at all. So I agree with him totally. But I'm just saying we should have a sense of humor. That's all I'm saying.
Capella is dope. Capella is dope.
He is dope. He is super dope. And he's right about this.
Yeah. When he sent the tweet out though, when he sent the tweet out, I retweeted it because I wanted it to be like good conversation, and it actually turned out to be good conversation because he was able to understand it from the perspective of the young folks in terms of like how it wasn't being used as tropey. But I respect him for the fact that he did go out on a limb to protect black women because he didn't want to he didn't want to feed into those negative tropes about black women. So I got a lot of respect for that guy. We don't want no heat because when he comes, his followers come, and so peace.
No, the brother's right. The brother's hella right now.
Listen, I love Principal Kafele, and I think one of the things that he really also said was he's not talking about the show. He was talking about very specifically. Often when black women are portrayed and in a role, they're often I remember like there were certain shows we could not watch as little kids because how black people were portrayed, and they're like, nah. Our village was like, no, you're not going to form unconscious thinking about black people from that, that show. My mother's told me, she was like, you were about 4 and you did the JJ joint, like, hey, what's happening? She was like, she just cut TV off, like broke the TVs, put them out the house. Like, she was like, That's not what I want in your inner conscious. So I understood exactly like what he was saying.
I mean,
and you show up exactly like that right now too. No sense of humor.
Mashallah.
Corny.
Listen, growing up, I'm a serious person by nature, but I've actually I'm so glad you said this. We were talking about this as a family today at our family brunch. Some of us like we're so serious, we actually started finding our sense of humor in our 30s. Like I grew up as a serious kid. It was hard for me to just guff all. Even now, I don't like, it has to be something extremely funny for me to like just bust out laughing. Usually I'm like, that was funny. That was cute. I mean, so like I think there's just people like their narrative, but I can still appreciate, humor. It's like I can't draw, but I can appreciate art. So it's the very thing. My father the same way. He's like, yeah, I didn't have a sense of humor. He was like, it was just a different context that we were, coming up in. So now I try to like, appreciate it even more and find humor. And I think I started finding humor when I had my own kids. You know what I mean? When I started teaching and not being this serious. They even tell you when I first became a principal, it was all business. Like, yo, we got work to do. We ain't got time to be, hooping and hollering, and then black folks always want to show their teeth, all that kind of stuff. So,
it's a good point. It's a good point, Sharif, because we have to realize that there are still humorless people in the world, and that they deserve and they deserve shows too somewhere else. I can guarantee you when you make those,
they call dramas.
They're called dramas, and they're also called shows that get canceled quickly because nobody wants to see an accurate depiction of life every day. If you made these characters true to life and 100% accurate and noble in all their characters,
very
noble and smart with no, this is the worst.
Now y'all tell me why documentary
Boston Public was good. Boston Public was a good show.
Yeah, it was a good drama.
It was.
Boston Public was a really good show.
Okay, yeah, all right. Is it on?
I mean, it was on. I think it was a David E. Kelly show. I think it was. Yeah, it was on for a while, and they did what they need. I mean, listen, man. Like, we can't just be funny though. Like, I mean, listen. Like, that woman is dope. The one who plays the principal, she actually has a special on Netflix. She's part of this series. Looks, man, she's trying to get the next role. B. Like, she's trying to we talking about supporting black. I'm serious, right? Like, she wants to be the breakout star, right? Like the same way Carell utilized The Office to be. And these shows are smart if they're following that Office Parks and Rec. It's the aloof leader that becomes the lovable leader that you kind of love, and they kind of are this point of catharsis that they get to say and do the thing that you would never actually do. Like, I think any smart person knows that that's not how a school is actually running. But I get listen, man, much respect to the principal, and I get it. And I listen, I just feel like it's a comedy. Like, it could be a drama. There could be a drama, man. Like, listen, I watch law shows. Don't no court show go to actual trial as fast as they do in court shows, bro. It's just
black folks involved.
It's just not how that goes. Like, I'm on a board of a hospital, bro. They don't just go into surgeries, bro. Like, there's planning, bro. Like, it's like a thing, right? And review boards and all kind of stuff like that. And you got to publish. Like, I mean, I get it though, right? And I understand. Here's where I will shoot the principal some bail, and here's where I will push in a loving way, because I think that's fine. The position he took, actually, it helps to show the more people are talking about it and arguing about it, right? If you tune in or whatever. But I would just say, man, looking at these type of shows, just don't suck the fun out of it. Like, let them have a little bit of fun. Quinta is she left another show that was successful on HBO to go out and kind of do this thing. Like, she putting her all into it. You know what I'm saying? I do feel if that point would be stronger if that black woman was the only black person in the show and that person was being portrayed as a buffoon. The lead protagonist is a black woman who is just, they make her as sweet as can be, you know what I'm saying? And you got the everybody hates Chris brother. Like, they got these people looking really well, and I want to get to the part like Chris Rock was saying, we ain't got to be A+ in everything, yo. Like, we get to be C students sometimes too. So I get where he's coming from, but if you enjoy it, just enjoy it. I don't know.
Truth bomb too. Drop a truth bomb here. Mimi, I'm going to throw this to you.
Yeah.
Because what I said earlier, this is from a teacher's point of view. The teachers on the writing staff are teachers, and the creator is a teacher. And teachers have had some very buffoonish administrators. As much anybody watching this show wants administrators, there was an administrator in NYC who didn't show up for a year, and when she would pop in, she was wearing a fur coat. and she didn't come for a whole year, right?
Wow.
And they couldn't fire her right away. She's making almost $200,000. If you are the teachers in schools with administrators that you see do some crazy, wacky stuff, you're at home grading papers, drinking wine, watching this, thinking, yup, this is my life right now. We have to admit that maybe I'm thinking she's comedy and she's a character sketch, but not everybody is perfect in education.
Yeah. And I would also say, in her defense, I don't think she is a buffoon. I think she's actually really intelligent. Like, if you even hear about how she got that job, and I'm like,
that's true. That's right.
She's just like creative and resourceful, just like the teachers are on that show too. So she just doesn't have experience. So like we can definitely all agree on that. Like she has zero experience, and that's why she's out of touch to what the educators are saying that they need to be successful in the classroom. Yeah, so that's my
Mimi. But what else? So there, you mentioned a couple things. I think everybody mentioned something that ties into a realistic experience. You know, one of the things that Ray brought up the young black man. Who's and the piece that I think was reality was like his impact on the children, even the ones who don't necessarily teach. He doesn't teach, right? And that was one of the things that we see from a lot of times. He's like the only one. And the other thing was the vacancies where they're like, hey, janitor, custodian, come sub, right? And then the third piece for me, was how the turnover. I think on the first show they talked about how few people returned, and so the attrition rate. So those are things that I was like, even with all the comedy and all this, there are some very specific things that do speak to the reality of. So we love what are some of the things that resonated with you? You talked about trigger earlier as well. What are the things you say, that piece, even if it's, wrapped around a little exaggeration and stuff?
Yeah, well, the show hits on a few themes that I just made a note of over time. So they hit on the theme of insufficient resources, like literally every episode, which is annoying at first, but I get it. So like they really want to hone in on that. The misappropriation of school funds. So, the school principal, instead of using the money from the district to actually buy supplies that the teachers were asking for, she made a sign for the school with her picture on it, which was also laughable.
I did a billboard for my school before. It wasn't my picture, but I did do a billboard, but I was laughing at that.
How many educators have had to witness something like that happen in their schools? So I think that point was just like, oh my gosh, this is just too much, because we've all lived at one point. They also talk about, self-care, like refusing to burn out for these kids. Like someone's got to be there to take care of them. So if we burn out, who's going to be there? I thought that was so powerful. The teacher shortage piece, like you said. So once a teacher left, they had the janitor coming in, teaching the kids about Kanye West I think he voted for Kanye for president. Talking about crazy stuff. So like that was very questionable. And I'm like, I'm sure something like this is happening in our classrooms right now, because there's a huge teacher shortage. So
National Guard is teaching in the neighborhood near you, so.
I love that the janitor gave them a lesson on the Illuminati.
Yeah.
Like I love that the janitor, when they brought him in the classroom to teach, first thing he did was like start teaching about the Illuminati. It's funny. I don't want that to happen in my school. I don't want that to happen in my children's school, but it is funny.
So some schools across the country, right? Elephant in the room, have principals that only have 2 to 3 years experience in the classroom, right? And so we're talking about this teacher, and we're talking about like this trope of her not having experience. You have that in some schools, right? And so, I mean, it's a reality.
Yeah,
it's a reality.
I think just to Chris's larger point though, man, like, don't like if we end up killing the show, we kill our own show, and then we're gonna be like, well, we ain't got no shows that represent or whatever. I get it, man. Listen, this ain't This Is Us, which probably has the best. I think This Is Us is the best written show of all time. I don't know how they do it.
Written for awards.
Yeah, I mean that show is ridiculous. It's the best written show. But I think that the writers did a good job here, man. I've talked to y'all about my cousin, the one that was helping me, like, with the Chicago fire thing, man. Like they got consultants, they got people that's there that they talk to, and they try to do it, with a little bit of respect and care and all that stuff. I think it's good that people are having this much conversation and this much thought. But we. Again, it's not a drama. Like, I mean, it's you start with something that's like just how TV shows are made, to what Chris, what you were saying, bro. Like, you can make everybody true to life and be the people, and then you will not last in the 22-minute slot. You know what I'm saying? Like you can do that if you want, but that's not what this is, man. Like, and let people have their fun. Let people, like all the people in the comments that seeing bits and pieces of themselves or whatever, like do that, have that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all good. And if they step out of line, I guess people can, complain. That's their right. I just couldn't take it seriously when I saw all the stuff. It like turned me off to it, right? Because it's like I don't even want to watch it and like have to read and see all that stuff in my feed. Like I was talking about my algorithm today because my algorithm was filled with Abbott Elementary. And I'm like, can I please get a new algorithm? Because I just don't care. Like I hope the show does well.
I'm gonna tag you on Abbott.
I mean, you can, and I will block you. That the block button be strong.
100%. Oh my God, yo, he is up for a block. He is up for a block award.
I haven't earned it yet. I'm disappointed in myself. Like that's why.
You earned it on Instagram. You definitely earned it on Instagram every day.
But here's the thing, but you see how I'm doing? How I'm being honest and saying I don't love the show's not necessarily for me. But I really do want to see it. I think it's a really good show. I think it's really well put together. And I think people are forgetting stuff. There's a straight person and there's like the kooky person and there's people in between. Mm-hmm. This woman, the press was playing opposite Sheryl Lee Ralph. She is playing opposite like a Broadway dream girl trained actress who her job is to be the serious person, the moral center of the story. And then you got this other person who's wacky. Like that's just a common sitcom thing, you know what I mean? So
Miss Howard, the veteran teacher, is like the veteran teacher we all needed when we were in the classroom. Yeah. Like I had a Miss Howard in the school that I taught at my first 2 years in San Antonio. So I was just like, I can't stop thinking about her. And I honestly would not be the educator that I am today if it weren't for people like, our Miss Howards that really like they've been in the system for years and years and years. They have like, family engagement on lock. They know like what they're just very real about what to expect, and they show up for their kids in the way that they know how, and they do it on a consistent basis. And I'm like, those are the people that we need to lean on, especially because it's so easy to get jaded in these systems. And I mean, you can say that Miss Howard is definitely like one of those people that's very skeptical, and she's just like cynical, like don't expect anything. You're not going to get anything. Just make do with what you have. And I mean, that can also be a little frustrating for teachers like Janine who are like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, like I want to fix the world and do all these good things for my kids. And it's like yes, but be realistic. Like focus on what you can control. So she was giving her some very practical advice that educators need.
And listen.
Can I make an inference? Well, not even an inference. Can I just say something about what I'm seeing?
You don't need permission. Jump in, bro.
Janine is annoying as hell, right?
She kind of is. She's
annoying as hell.
She really
is. If you have worked with
she's very sweet.
Like if you have worked with a teacher like that, or if you have been an administrator to a teacher like that, bro, that's annoying.
So you're anti-idealistic.
I was a Janine in my school.
Yeah, you're
and you would have been there for 1 year, and you would have found a new home.
Even her relationship, I will say this: if there was a think piece, her relationship with her boyfriend is kind of whack on the show. That's kind of a whack.
But you need the bad guy so you don't feel bad about rooting for her to get with the other dude.
I will say this much. Well, two things. One, I want to go back and say in the comments, Principal Kafele says, "Hey, brothers, I'm only expressing an opinion. It's all good."
And we respect that, brother. That's the man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's our guy.
And the opinion that he's making is a good. He said in a previous comment, he's not down in the whole show. He's only talking about one character that he finds problematic in the show. So just wanted to put that out there. But there's really
she's trying to get another job, bro. She is trying to.
I don't know what she's trying to do because I don't know her, but I will say this much: there's only 2 black males on the show, and one's a teacher who's faltering, and the other one's a boyfriend. The other one's a boyfriend with a rap career that ain't going nowhere. Who be like taking her car during the day to do random weird shit.
Her food.
And her food and everything else. I felt bad. I was like, yo, that's whack.
So again, another observation, Reef, and you can talk us through this one. Because you're the spicy dresser and you're the person that shows up or whatever.
Yo, say less, bro.
That guy gets sexually harassed on a daily basis, bro.
He kind of does, yeah. Yep, he does.
By his supervisor.
Yeah, by everybody.
By everybody, really, it's true. And racially harassed because the white teacher wants to be down with him so bad that he's making it kind of a weird. He's making it weird. Let me go back to my main point. I want to just keep making this again. If you're a Black consumer of media, first of all, you are not an expert on what goes into entertainment development. But as a consumer, it is possible to binge and run out of stuff. You can have 5 streaming services and go through all kinds of stuff, and another population still has months and months and months and months of stuff to go through. And you
diversify what you're looking at.
And you can hit the end of your binging. You could be, when a season show goes over at the end of your binge, you kind of go, oh man, wow. Well, I wish there was another episode because, we run in a little bit of a drought now, right? That's not something that the rest of the world has to contend with all the time. So appreciate your gems when you have them, right? And this is one of them to me. This is quadrupled its ratings, right? Come on.
That's impressive.
Let them know.
Hey, we could have did the same show on Ozark.
Or Ozark, as Chris likes to call it.
Oh God!
Hey, look, I'll be watching Chicago PD. I'll be like, how is they still going undercover in Chicago in the social media age every week? I don't know, but I watch it. I don't understand it, but I enjoy it. Like, it's escapism, man. But I guess, bro, we just take
not to change the subject. But Charles, you mentioned This Is Us. You said it's the best writing.
It is.
I think the reason you like it and I like it, and other people might be able to watch it in conjunction with the rest of the world, is because it's got one of the most dope depictions of a Black family on anywhere in TV on it. That you take them out of that show, I don't know that we're saying the same thing, right? Like we're hungry for dope depictions of our people.
Yeah.
The episodes I saw, I liked it because of
Randall and his family.
Yeah,
Randall's
Yeah,
family.
I would just say, go ahead, Ray.
I was just about to say, I can't watch an episode of This Does Not Cry.
That's what I'm saying. Listen, bro.
Oh
I didn't even watch the last episode. I was driving back, right? No, Ray, I'm with you.
Next time you cry, take a picture. That's gonna be my new meme.
Jesus.
So wait, you coming for me now because at first I had the shirt on, and now you're telling me as a Black man that I can't cry?
I love the shirt. I love the shirt, and I love Black male tears. For the record.
I love that you cry. I just want a picture of it. I would replace my Jordan meme with yours.
I challenge anybody to watch 3 episodes of This Is Us and not cry. Listen, I didn't even watch the last episode. It was about dude losing his mom, and I didn't even watch it. I just listened to it, and I'm like, what the? Why? Why is this writing so good? I hate it. I hate how good the writing is on This Is Us. But I think
right? It's not like a documentary, right? Like this is like this is a drama. Like
what you talking about? This Is Us?
Yeah.
Nah, This Is Us. Actually, it's actually a fresh premise. It's like different generations that's kind of intertwined.
It's not real life though, right? It's like it's acting and all that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to make sure I'm clear.
It's not a documentary.
Why Nicole keep coming from me in these damn comments? But I don't know. Like, she's like, wow, what, wow. But listen, bro, whatever. I'm just gonna say,
like, whatever. I got time for that.
But listen, there's another show, Arcane. It's a cartoon based off a video game. That's like the dopest thing I've seen all year. It was like
make you cry?
Beautiful. It didn't make me cry, but it made me think. It was just really good. Like, this is entertainment, man. This is just stuff. Like, why can't I'm telling you? It's the Chris Rock thing, yo. It's like, yo, if you live, you got to be the greatest of whatever. If you Black, right? You just can't just have. You just can't have like a okay show. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's either got to be the best or it's the worst shit ever. And it's like, come on, man, let our people just breathe. Like, let her figure it out. She a young exec. Like, she's trying to do what she doing. People talking about it. They rocking. Like, they gonna make mistakes. They're supposed to be characters. Guess what? That you don't like. That is a big part of the thing, right? It's supposed to be villains and characters and stuff like that. I just feel like we got to give our people room to develop and do whatever. And guess what? The ratings gonna do what they gonna do. So if it's a bad show, the network don't give a damn about the social justice of it or the representation of it. If it ain't getting the ad money, it's gone.
Well, look, let's do this.
You can ask Morris Chestnut about that. Every show he does, they yank that shit off the air. Morris Chestnut.
All right, we gotta do closing comment. But in the closing comments, I would love to hear what is something about schools that that maybe you hope that they introduce through comedy or through the show, or something that they revisit. Something about schools you're like, what, I haven't seen that part yet, or I've seen it and I hope to see it more. I hope they You know, so Dr. Cole, let's start with you. Maybe we'll end with you.
Sounds good.
All right.
You said, what do I wish that they would do? I mean, I don't know. This show is making me think. This conversation is making me remember on like the Steve Harvey show and like hanging with Mr. Cooper and Mr. Cooper for a bunch of reasons because he was always around Oakland. It was supposed to be set in Oakland and all that stuff. Listen, man, I'm rooting for the show. Like I said, it may not personally do it for me, but I think that, you know, just this conversation to me just lets me know that like, yo, I really hope that they make it. I hope that there probably will be some young person in high school or college that's like, you know what, man, I want to get at a crack. I want to do that. Like, that seemed cool. You know what I'm saying? I know it's happened with the fire one because my cousin told me about it, right? Like, people are like, oh, that seemed cool. I really want to kind of do that. So if it helps in this teacher shortage and all that stuff to kind of get that boost and does what it does and people can enjoy it, hey, man, God bless you, yo. Like, and Miss Brunson, keep going for it. And I wish nothing but success for everybody on that crew and on that staff, you know?
Principal Kafele, that was my answer. So I got to think of something else. Ray, what you got?
Let's see here. I've been attacked all night for my
not by me.
For
I
the
had your back.
LGBTQIA community and for me being expressive about my feelings as a Black man. I've been criticized for crying or sharing that I cry on This Is Us episodes or whatever. I'm feeling like I'm showing up to a very toxic work environment and Bright Beam forever, right? Hey, so I know that I wouldn't have to go through this stuff if I was working at Bright Beam. I don't know what other nonprofits that are here on this show that show up this way that make their employees feel this way, but I know that Bright Beam does not. And so my hat.
You know what? I owe him a hug. I think that's what I owe him, a hug and a cheesesteak.
I'm going to be a Bright Beam guy. That's it. That's my final thought.
Citizen Stewart.
Oh God.
Something you hope they introduce or revisit.
All right. Well, three things. I agree with the Chocolate Mountain that Bright Beam is a incredible place to work and is affirming to all people of all backgrounds. We believe in universal love. So I'm affirming of his shirt and of his words. I receive it at Bright Beam. And if you want to work for us, go to brightbeamnetwork.org. Jesus. We have positions open. So that's number one. Thank you, Chocolate Mountain, for that. I appreciate you, brother.
You was really calling that man Chocolate Mountain. You gonna do that, huh?
All day in all the texts, everything.
Jesus.
The number two thing is right now we are putting our children in the company every day of people that are having a really rough time, right? And nothing's normal right now. This isn't a good time. Our kids are having mental situations. Our teachers are holding it together the best that they could possibly can. I'm a big critic of the system, always have been. We have on this show have criticized the unions, the teachers, the districts, the schools. It is a racist institution. We have done all that and it has all been true. But at this moment right now, there are people like any ounce of human compassion that you can have right now, there are people that are minding your children through the day that are going through some things, and your kids are going through some things too. Any amount of sunlight that you can have that kind of opens it up for us to have a collective experience where we can laugh and have some insights and not be so damn serious because the world is serious right now. That's helpful. So those are my main 2 points. My last thing to answer your question about like what I like to see, our kids are so damn funny. Like the thing that I think is missing from this show that could be that is rarely kind of unearthed is just how funny our kids actually are. If you spend time, like I love comedy, I've always loved comedy, and I find kids so much funnier than adults. So if they could tap into some of that, I think that would make the show even better than it is right now.
Yeah, that last episode with the young lady who was, they called it too smart for her own good. She just wasn't being challenged, right? And so, like, I thought she was funny, but. Definitely. Mimi, what are your thoughts?
So I think I would like to see them do an episode around like what it looks like for teachers to take care of themselves. Cause I mentioned this earlier, that self-care piece, especially for novice educators, is so important because they will burn out like really quickly. And I know Melissa was also saying like, this is a call that you answered, but you need to make sure that you're here for your kids. So hopefully they can, emphasize the importance of that. And I also think it'd be kind of cool for them to dig a little bit deeper into the Black male educator, storyline there. I think it's so important. Like he didn't see himself as a long-term educator. He's just like, I'm a sub. Like, I don't plan on being here that much longer. And he didn't even want to decorate his classroom, but we all know he's gonna stay. Like, the kids are just they already have his heart, so he's not gonna go anywhere anytime soon. And now also he's checking for Janine, as we all know. But I think that they should dig a little bit deeper into that. And Sharif, whenever they put you on a show as superintendent, maybe
well, I'm trying to get. I'm also trying to get GLB on the show, Gloria Ladson Billing. I think she would be, absolutely amazing. Hey, Mimi. That's a really dope shirt. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? We appreciate that. Look at that. You know what I mean?
Where can we get one? Like, if
you know what? You can get that one at
brightbeamnetwork.org.
Oh, Jesus.
But listen, I mean, you made a point about the self-care. I agree with that. And I thought Ray was going to flip his wig. Well, I thought he was going to flip because she was getting her nails done during her prep, I think. Or lunch prep. Oh, that was lunch. That was a long lunch. You know what I mean? I was just like, getting nails done during prep. I know what Ray gonna say about that. You know what I mean? Listen, I would say one of the things, and I agree with everything that you all said, and including Principal Kafele about diving into teaching truth and what does that mean in the school, particularly for any of the students, but particularly the older students and how they wrestle with that. And if there was like a pressure from the principal, like, no, you can't do that, blah, 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 just like how they navigate that kind of stuff. The other piece that I would love is what Mimi said about the Black male educator, but I also would love for them to dive into Black educators too, like why they're so important, why Shirley Ralph's, role. And I agree. I had a couple of those, right? And they were just like lifesavers. They understood and they cared deeply about, and they were successful. Like, their kids learn. I was like, I want my kids to learn like your kids are learning, right? Like that was a thing. So I think the Black educators, they've hinted at it. I hope that they draw and dive deep, right? Like when the young man was having trouble with parents and relationships and being on the same page, he got advice from Shirley Ralph's character or things like that. So I think Quinta's given feedback to the young man about your classroom, like this needs to be an inviting space. Like, hey, you know what, students are affirming you need to return that, all of those kind of things. And then you guys talked about something earlier that I just want to just double down. 90% of the shows on TV that people consume, particularly in this country, should be factual documentaries. All right, get your entertainment from finding documentaries,
Jesus,
truth, actual stuff. This is one of the most this is one of the countries
that don't listen to y'all gonna ruin that lady's show. I'm just telling you, y'all gonna turn her show into a PD, and it's gonna go.
That's her. This show, Abbott Elementary, should be part of the 10%. The other 90% should be about documentaries and people actually learning facts and history and things like that. Secondly, 50% of the shows should be based in Philly.
Oh my God!
I'm riding for this.
Look, that's why I like This Is Us, because Randall family was in Philly.
No,
Randall, This Is Us.
Randall, I love it because I saw 3 episodes. I love the Philly one, and they from Pittsburgh. They PA all day, baby. Like this is a beautiful time.
Hey, Josh, put the screen.
Mimi, I want to thank you for coming in. This evening. Thank you so much.
Put the screen on him. Let him talk.
Really appreciate you coming on the show this evening. You've been listening to another episode of the 8 Black Hands.
The more everybody
this is not the Banana Republic. This is a democracy, a meritocracy, and we will see you next.